Billionaire reveals incredible truth after discovering Maid's daughter, 12, washing dishes at 3 a.m. The clock was relentless, its hands creeping toward 3 a.m. like the world had gone quiet. But inside Jack Lennox's opulent home, the kitchen hummed softly. A flicker caught his eye, flickering lights spilling around the doorframe. Curiosity tugged at him, pulling him from his nest of sleeplessness. As he stepped inside, the scene stole his breath. There, scrubbing the last of the day's dishes, was 12-year-old Maria, dressed in an oversized t-shirt and a look of fierce determination on her young face. Jack's heart tightened. At that moment, he wasn't a billionaire tech mogul. He was just a father who felt something stir deep within, a longing to understand the burdens that shaped lives outside his own glittering bubble. Maria's hands moved methodically, soap and water flying as if her very existence depended on that clean plate. He glanced around the kitchen that gleamed under bright lights, yet here was a little girl wrestling with responsibilities no child should bear. "Maria, what are you doing up this late?" he whispered, his voice tentative, afraid to shatter the moment. She paused, guilt flashing across her face. "I'm helping my mom, Mr. Lennox. She's been really busy." A lump formed in Jack's throat. He didn't need to know more. He had seen Maria's mother, working 2 jobs since her husband lost his, fighting against the grip of their financial struggles. It hit him then like a punch to the gut, the enormity of their challenges and how vastly different their realities were. This singular instant pushed Jack into turmoil. He thought of his own daughter, Lily, upstairs, likely wrapped in her world of privilege, yet so achingly distant. The restless nights driven by work and the relentless pursuit of success were pulling them apart like an invisible, unbreachable chasm. And here was Maria, the embodiment of hard work, stuck in the gears of a system tilted against her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can, drop a like. It really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the following weeks, Jack tried to help. He offered financial support, ensuring Maria's family had what they needed. But friends and critics alike warned him of the dangers of white knighting, of crafting a dependency in a world that valued work ethic. As criticism echoed around him, his loneliness expanded. He retreated deeper into his fortress of wealth, overlooking the one thing that really mattered: family. Tension surged at home. Lily walked around like a ghost, her feelings of abandonment unspoken but palpable. Jack's heart ached at her silence, the weight of her disappointment sitting heavy like a shadow on his chest. When he tried to reach out, she recoiled, his busy life pushing her further away. One tense evening, a confrontation erupted. Maria and her mother stood before him, raw emotions spilling from their voices. They laid bare their struggles, stripping away Jack's illusions of easy solutions. It was agony, the kind that breaks you open, revealing not just their pain, but his own shortcomings. He felt the truth land with a heavy thud. Success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about lifting others along the way. Jack stood at a precipice. His ambition had blinded him, and now, amidst the wreckage of shattered relationships, the haunting question lingered. Could he reconcile who he was with who he wanted to be? The clock kept ticking, a relentless reminder that change awaited. But would he embrace it? The future loomed uncertain, filled with potential, yet driven by a cry for humanity he feared was slipping from his grasp. Jack stood in the silence of his kitchen, the aftermath of Maria's confrontation echoing in his mind. The clamor of emotions felt like a storm brewing inside him, threatening to spill over. It was clear now. Life had slapped him awake, revealing just how disconnected he had become from the very humanity he once cherished. He turned away from the dishes, the glittering hardware around him, opulent yet empty. Weeks passed in a blur. Jack attempted tiny gestures of sincerity, exchanging smiles with his staff, trying to engage more with Lily, but they always felt hollow. Every attempt at connection evaporated like steam, leaving an unsettling void that only deepened his torment. One evening, he decided to invite Maria and her mother over for dinner. A strange mix of hope and apprehension twisted in his stomach. He prepared himself for their arrival, setting the table with an array of dishes that sparkled like his wealth, but felt stark against the backdrop of their lives. When they arrived, Maria hid behind her mother, eyes darting nervously around the grand dining room. Jack noticed the way she hesitated, her small frame surrounded by the enormity of luxury. He knelt to her level, trying to bridge the chasm that wealth often carved. "It's just us here. You can relax," he said, searching for the right words. She gave a shy nod, but the tension was palpable. Jack felt his own heart constricting. Dinner started awkwardly. The exquisite food felt disrespectful, a glittering reminder of privilege. Conversation flowed awkwardly at first, small talk peppered with silences that felt louder than the clinking of cutlery. Jack desperately cast about for a way to engage. "Maria, I heard you're quite good at math," he ventured. He watched as her face lit up, but her mother's worried glance pulled the light away. "Yes, Mr. Lennox." "But I also help my mom with cooking. We usually don't have much, so it's mostly trial and error." Her voice was steady, but Jack caught the hint of pride spilling between her words. As they talked, laughter broke the tension. Maria's eyes sparkled with a newfound confidence. Jack leaned back, momentarily relieved. Maybe this could lead somewhere. But then Maria's mother spoke, her voice breaking through the laughter. "We appreciate this, Jack, but we're not here to live in someone else's world. We are grateful for what you've done, but please, don't feel obligated. We don't want charity." The words hit like a cold tsunami, dousing the warmth that had started to grow at the table. Jack felt the sting of truth, and for a moment, only silence filled the room. "I'm not trying to create a dependency," he finally said, searching for sincerity. "I want to understand. I want to help without taking away your dignity." Maria's mother met his gaze, and Jack saw the flicker of hope tinged with wariness. "All we want is respect for our work. Sometimes that's the toughest battle." Jack nodded, realizing that understanding them would begin with listening, not just to their words, but to the unspoken layers behind them. That evening was a turning point. A slow awareness drifted in his heart. He had to navigate this new realm with care, respect, and genuine desire for connection, no matter how bumpy the road ahead might be. As they left, with promises of future gatherings hanging in the air, Jack was left to ponder the delicate balance of giving and receiving. He felt a gnawing urgency to change, but the path to a deeper understanding loomed dark and unknown. What would it take to truly bridge the divide between their worlds? The weight of the question pressed heavily on his heart as he turned to the sprawling gleam of his home, the emptiness echoing behind him. Could he find a way forward that honored them both? Jack woke the next morning with the sunlight streaming through his large windows, illuminating the grand but empty spaces of his home. Memories of the night before flooded back, the laughter, the awkward silences, and the palpable discomfort that dashed his hopes for genuine connection. He had laid out a feast, and yet it all felt so out of place, like a parade of pretension in front of people who had learned to find joy in simplicity. He made his way to the kitchen, where he could still smell the lingering aroma of the meal. Yet, instead of a sense of accomplishment, he felt a heaviness in his chest. His appetite was absent, so he began to wash the remnants of last night's dinner alone, the clattering of dishes providing only shallow comfort against his thoughts. That evening, while deep in contemplation, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Maria's mother. "We'd love to come over again." A smile flickered across Jack's face, but doubt crept in. He wanted to do better this time. He wanted to listen and learn. He spent the next few days strategizing, thinking about what he could do to make them feel more at home. He decided to keep it simple. No extravagant meals this time. Instead, he planned a Mexican fusion taco night, something he suspected felt more like shared culture instead of a showcase of wealth. On the night of their arrival, Jack felt butterflies in his stomach. He had set the dining room table simply, with colorful plates and a vibrant centerpiece of fresh flowers, hoping this would feel welcoming rather than imposing. When they arrived, Maria seemed shy again, but her mother was warm, her smile softer now, perhaps showing a hint of trust. As dinner began, Jack opened up a conversation about everyday things. He asked about their favorite TV shows, their favorite foods. Maria spoke enthusiastically about a cooking show she followed, her eyes shining as she recounted episodes. Jack found himself laughing, really laughing for the first time in so long. But Jack knew this was just the start. It was when he asked them what they did to unwind after a long day that the real magic began. Maria's mother leaned forward, her face lighting up. "We love to cook together. It's a way to bond. It keeps us both grounded." "Can you show me?" Jack blurted out, surprising even himself. He pictured them standing in his kitchen, laughter echoing off the walls, the way it should have been from the start. Maria's eyes widened, and for a moment he thought he had overstepped. But then her mother smiled, a smile of acceptance. "Of course, Mr. Lennox, we'd love to share our recipes with you." As they cooked together, an unexpected thrill ignited within Jack. The kitchen buzzed with energy, the kind that came from blending their lives, their stories, and their laughter into something new and cohesive. Maria taught him how to chop vegetables the right way, and in return, he showed her how to make a simple guacamole. The evening was seamless until Maria's mother paused, looking more serious. "Jack, what you're doing is wonderful, but remember, real connections are born from understanding each other more deeply, not just in sharing meals." He nodded, absorbing her words. This was becoming more than just a dinner. It was a bridge, and while it felt solid, the journey across it still carried uncertainties. He wondered about their pasts, their struggles, the kind of things they hid beneath their smiles. Later, as they sat down to eat the tacos, Jack's heart swelled. The food was delicious, but it was the connections, real and honest, that invigorated his spirit. What did it mean to truly know someone? Could he peel back the layers of their lives like he had with the vegetables? As he listened to their stories and laughter, Jack felt a growing yearning to explore not just their lives, but also his own. But the path was far from clear, and he was only at the beginning. The question loomed heavily in his mind. Had he merely scratched the surface? What could he uncover if he took that leap? Would he be ready for what he might find in the depths of their realities? The next few weeks flew by, filled with laughter and light. Jack felt a change in the air, a warmth that wrapped around his heart like a comforting blanket. Dinner after dinner, he learned more about Maria and her mother. Each evening was a gift wrapped with moments of candor, shared jokes, personal stories, and the slow unveiling of their lives. One Friday evening, Jack was busy in the kitchen, perfecting his new meat marinade. He could hear the familiar sound of a car pulling into the driveway. His heart skipped a beat at the thought of them arriving for dinner. He set the meat aside, wiped his hands on his apron, and opened the door just as Maria and her mother stepped inside. "Smells amazing in here," Maria exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "Thanks, I'm trying a new recipe," Jack replied, a sense of pride lighting up his face. "Did you remember to let the meat marinade?" her mother teased, mirroring Jack's earlier nervousness. Of course," he stammered, the laughter from her mother easing his anxiety. The evening flowed easily, just like the taco night. They cooked, shared, and even played music that filled the house with joyous beats. Jack found himself watching Maria's mother as she flaunted her culinary skills, her laughter rising above the sizzling sounds in the kitchen. There was something so genuine between them, a family dynamic that stirred something deep within him. As they sat down to eat, Jack noticed a slight melancholy in Maria's eyes. She picked at her food more than usual, the joy dimmed. It felt odd amidst the camaraderie surrounding the table, and his concern grew. "What's on your mind?" he asked, laying down his fork, sincere curiosity lacing his tone. Maria looked at him, hesitating. "It's just, I really love these dinners, but sometimes I feel like I don't belong here." Her mother's expression changed, a shadow flickering across her face. "You belong here, Maria. Don't ever doubt that," she reassured her, but Jack caught the faint worry in her eyes. Jack's heart sank for Maria. Here she was, gifted with a warm family atmosphere created in his home, yet she felt out of place. He searched for words, wanting to let her know she mattered, that she could be open with him, not just as a guest, but as a friend. He leaned forward, his voice steady. "You belong here, Maria. You bring light into this home, and you can always talk to me about anything, okay? You're just as much a part of this as I am." A spark of surprise flickered across her face, and he hoped to see a smile start to form. Instead, she looked down, her brow furrowing in thought. "Really?" "Absolutely," Jack assured her, and then, sensing the need for a distraction, he added with a grin, "Besides, you're the only one who can cut an onion better than I can. That guarantee has some serious weight." They all laughed, and slowly the tension faded. Maria looked up, a smile breaking through, but Jack's mind was still racing. What had triggered that feeling in her heart? What shadows lingered in their lives they hadn't yet explored? By the end of dinner, as they cleaned up together, Jack was more determined than ever to dive deeper into those shadows. He felt like they were standing at the edge of something beautiful, something raw. And yet, as he looked at their smiling faces, he sensed an undertow of concern threatening to pull him under. What unsaid words could lead to moments of truth? Was discovering those hidden layers a risk worth taking? As he dried the dishes, Jack contemplated the barriers still existing between them, the ones that could break or bond them. Would he have the courage to wade into their depths, or would the fear of what he might find hold him back? With those thoughts brewing in his mind, Jack knew he had to ask, if he dared. Would he be able to put aside his own fears and help Maria face her uncertainties? The following week felt like a dance of anticipation for Jack. Each day he thought about Maria's lingering sadness. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of something important, something that could either draw them closer or push them apart. Friday rolled around again, and with it the familiar ritual of preparing dinner. Jack decided to make a simple pasta dish, hoping it would set a relaxed tone for the evening. As he stirred the sauce, he couldn't help but glance at the clock. Was it too early to call them? What if Maria still felt out of place? When the doorbell rang, it caught him off guard. He shook off his thoughts, wiped his hands, and opened the door with a smile. Maria and her mother stood there, cloaked in the dim evening light. Maria's face lit up as she inhaled the savory aroma wafting from the kitchen. "Pasta night?" she guessed. "Your favorite," Jack replied, trying to match her enthusiasm while suppressing his questions about her earlier comments. They moved to the kitchen, laughter breaking through the air as they chatted about the week. Jack appreciated every joke, every glance that conveyed a sense of belonging, but he could still see a thread of worry in Maria's eyes. He wondered if tonight was the night to dig deeper. As they sat down to eat, the atmosphere was warm and inviting. Jack felt hope swell in his chest as he watched Maria engage with her mother, the tension easing just enough to catch a glimpse of the Maria he'd come to love, the vibrant, funny girl whose smile could light up any room. But midway through dinner, he couldn't ignore the itch of uncertainty gnawing at him. Swallowing hard, he chose to break the pleasant rhythm. "Maria," he began, his voice steady, "last week you said you didn't feel like you belonged here. I just want to check in on that. Is everything okay?" Her fork clattered to the plate, and silence enveloped the table. Jack's heart raced, hanging heavy with expectation. Maria looked to her mother, hesitating, as if gauging her own courage in this moment. "It's just," Maria finally whispered, her voice a thread of vulnerability. "I love spending time with both of you. It's just hard sometimes. I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden," Jack interjected quickly. "You bring so much happiness. I'd be lost without you here." Her eyes sparkled for a brief moment, before dimming again. "But what if I don't know how to be part of this? I feel like I'm stepping into someone else's world." Maria's mother reached out, her hand finding Maria's in a comforting gesture. "Honey, you're not stepping into anything. This is a shared space for all of us. We're a team, remember?" Tears threatened to well in Maria's eyes. It was a confession wrapped in fear, but Jack could see the fight within her, waiting to break free. "Let's figure it out together," Jack suggested softly. "If there's something more to talk about, we'll hold it together, okay?" He held his breath, waiting for her response. There was an eternity in the moment, a silent exchange coursing between them. Maria's fingers tightened around her mother's. "Okay," she finally said, her voice cracking but rich with determination. "I will try." Jack felt a surge of hope. They were slowly peeling away layers, uncovering a deeper connection amidst the unseen struggles. As they finished dinner, his mind raced ahead. Would their newfound honesty lead to more challenges? What other truths were waiting to be uncovered? He glanced at Maria, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the kitchen light. The emotional weight of the conversation felt alive, pulsing with potential. "Maria, we can explore anything together," he murmured. "Whatever you need." As the laughter started again, a palpable thawing in the air made Jack believe they were beginning to build something stronger than he could have imagined. But deep down, he couldn't shake the growing tension. What would her next revelation evoke? He felt it in the pit of his stomach, the undeniable knowing that this was only the beginning. Hey, Jack said gently, leaning closer to her as their mothers laughed about something trivial. You okay? She turned to him, caught by surprise. Her eyes conveyed a mix of emotions, trapped between gratitude and an unexpressed fear. Yeah, just thinking. Want to share? Maria bit her lip, her brow furrowing slightly. I'm just worried that I'm not doing enough. I know you and my mom are trying so hard to make me feel welcome, but... Maria, he interrupted, tone sincere but firm. You don't have to prove anything to us. Just being here is more than enough. But I want to be part of it. I want to belong here. Her voice quivered slightly, each word spilling out like pieces of a puzzle struggling to fit together. Jack watched her closely. She wasn't just trying to belong. She was seeking her place in something that felt right. You are already part of this, he reassured her. Your family. There was a moment's hesitation before she laughed softly, but the tension still hovered. Family, huh? It sounds perfect, but I guess my head doesn't always see it that way, she admitted, a glimpse of vulnerability breaking through her walls. Then let's break it down, he suggested, excitement bubbling within him. What does family mean to you? An unexpected smile appeared on her face. Well, it means comfort, like on rainy days when you curl up with a blanket and a movie, she said, her voice brightening. Like sharing secrets that nobody else knows. He nodded, eager. What if we created those moments? I can't promise I'll make it perfect, but I'll always try. That revelation flickered in Maria's eyes, the growing hope of something solidifying between them. Okay, I like that. I think I can manage that. Their conversation flowed more easily after, and for the first time, laughter rang out without a hint of hesitation. Maria's mother watched them, her heart swelling with pride at the budding friendship. Jack stole glances at Maria, each shared smile lighting up shadows that had previously loomed large. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Jack felt his heart tugging at him to keep leaning into this moment. So, are we making plans for a rainy day movie night? He teased. Maria giggled, her laughter bubbling over with the joy he'd been longing to see. Definitely. Just make sure you bring the popcorn. But the sudden shift in her expression caught him off guard. Jack, can I ask you something serious? His stomach dropped, anticipation tingling across his skin. Of course. What if something happens? Like, what if I can't manage it, or if I'm not enough? The breath caught in his throat. This vulnerability, it was a leap, but a necessary plunge. Then we'll figure it out together, no matter what. I'm here for you. A long silence stretched between them, each shared look a promise of support. With the glowing sunset as their witness, Jack reached over, taking Maria's hand. They were building something stronger than just friendship. It was the beginning of a bond that would withstand whatever shadows might come next. And bringing the first stars to the sky, an unsettling thought nagged at the edges of his mind. What unseen obstacles might still lie ahead for Maria? That question lingered, casting a shadow over the warmth of their moment. The next day, the park felt like a fresh start. Jack could hardly shake off the glow of those shared moments with Maria, but in the back of his mind, he couldn't stop worrying about what lay ahead. Life had a habit of throwing curveballs, and he wasn't sure how Maria would handle them. Maria had promised to join him at the local library that afternoon. The thought made him excited, but a little anxious too. He knew they'd be alone, and that meant more open conversations, and perhaps more unguarded moments like last night. As the clock struck 3, he grabbed his backpack and headed out. When he arrived, Maria was already there, skimming through books in the children's section. She looked up, and her face lit up as if a light had been turned on. Jack's heart swelled at the sight. Hey, you made it, he said, grinning. Of course. What should we look for today? Something fun? She replied, enthusiasm bubbling over. They found a cozy spot near a large window, sunlight spilling over the wooden table. As Maria flipped through a picture book, Jack gazed out, distracted by the way the sunlight danced through the leaves outside. Jack? Maria's voice broke through his dreaming. What do you think about dreams? He shrugged, curious. I think they're important. They can guide us. Why? She hesitated, the edges of her smile wavering. I've had a lot of plans, but they never seem to turn out right. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just dreaming too big. Jack shifted in a seat, leaning forward. What do you mean? She ran her fingers over the book cover, her gaze drifting once more. Like, I dream of having a family that really feels like home. I guess I worry that I'm just stuck, that I won't ever get there. He felt a surge of determination. Maria, you're already building that. This moment, what we have, it's the start of your dream taking shape. You just have to hang on. Her eyes met his, glistening with emotion. But what if I fail? What happens if things don't work out? Jack could feel how heavy those words were, pressing down hard. It's okay to stumble. Every step back is just a chance to learn. That's how we grow. He paused, gauging her reaction. You have support now. You're not alone. A flicker ignited in her eyes, just as the faintest hint of a smile played at her lips. Thanks, Jack. You're good at this. They returned to the book, chatting animatedly about wild stories, but there lingered an undercurrent of hope and fear flowing just beneath the surface. Suddenly her expression darkened. I just wish my dad could see this, to see me like this. The mention of her father made Jack's heart ache. He wanted to ask more, but the weight of her admission stilled his voice. Before he could respond, a loud crash echoed from across the library. They both jumped, startled. A stack of books had toppled over, drawing a chorus of gasps and laughter from nearby children. Maria chuckled along with them, momentarily distracted from her thoughts. See? She smiled. Even a little chaos can be fun sometimes. Encouraged, Jack laughed too. But deep down, he knew that fun couldn't erase the deeper questions lingering in her heart. As they left the library, he felt a strong urge to protect her, a promise to shield her from whatever darkness lurked outside their small oasis of joy. That night, as Jack lay awake, a new worry settled in. If Maria's past haunted her dreams, how could he truly help her heal? The thoughts swirled in his mind like a storm. What could he uncover about her past that might change everything? Would the truth bring her more pain, or could it be the key to freeing her heart? The next day arrived with clouds hanging low in the sky, mirroring the heaviness Jack felt inside. He couldn't shake off the nagging thought of what lay beneath Maria's surface. They had shared laughter, but that unguarded moment when she mentioned her father echoed in his mind. What kind of pain did she carry? Jack made his way to school, but his focus was elsewhere. In every classroom, his mind drifted back to the warmth of the library and the flicker in Maria's eyes when they talked about dreams. He wanted more moments like that, more encouragement for her to open up. That afternoon, as he waited for Maria near the school gate, he replayed everything in his head. What could he say to her without crossing a line? They were friends, but there seemed to be an invisible thread pulling them closer. Before he could overthink it, he spotted her walking towards him, her hair dancing in the slight breeze. Hey, sorry I'm late, Maria said, breathless and bright, as if the clouds hadn't followed her. No worries, I was just thinking. He smiled, but a part of him felt the weight of his own thoughts pressing down again. As they walked, a familiar ice cream truck jingled past, and Maria's eyes lit up. Oh, can we get some ice cream? It'll make this gloomy day better. Sure, your treat, he joked. Ha, just for that, I'll take you to the best flavors, she teased, laughing as they ran to catch up with the truck. Sitting on the curb with their ice creams, Maria enjoying a vibrant rainbow sherbet and Jack with a classic chocolate cone, they fell back into easy conversation. Still, Jack couldn't escape the heaviness he felt in his heart. Do you think people can change? Maria asked, her voice almost whimsical around a mouthful of colorful ice cream. Jack shrugged, licking his cone. Definitely. People are always evolving. But sometimes change takes time and courage. She nodded pensively, clearly lost in thought. Right. I mean, look at me. I'm trying to change my life, to be someone I'm proud of. He took a breath, his heart racing. You are someone you should be proud of. Just by being here, by wanting more, you're already on your way. Sometimes it's hard to believe that, she said, her voice shaking slightly. Especially when I feel the shadow looming from my past. It makes me doubt everything. Jack's stomach twisted. Now felt like the moment to dig deeper, to offer support. You don't have to face it alone, Maria. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. I care about what you're going through. Her expression changed, uncertainty filling her eyes. It's complicated, Jack. You don't really want to know about that, trust me. Maybe I do, he said softly. We could work through it together. Maria looked down, swirling her spoon in the melting sherbet. I just don't want to drag you into my mess. I'm already in it. I care about you, Maria. Don't push me away. The air felt thick between them, and Jack's heart raced with hope and fear. For a moment, silence enveloped them, filled with unspoken words. Just then, Maria blinked rapidly, her expression a mix of vulnerability and resolve. "Okay, but can you promise me something?" "Anything. Promise me you won't run away when you hear my story." He felt that thread tighten between them, an unbreakable bond blossoming in the tension of words left unsaid. "I promise." As Maria inhaled deeply, preparing to share the pieces of her past, Jack could feel the storm inside him quiet. This was it. The moment of truth was about to unfold. But what would it reveal? Maria took another deep breath, her eyes brimming with unspoken emotions. The rainbow sherbet cone in her hand had long since melted, leaving a sticky trail along her fingers. Jack noticed, but the visual distraction paled in comparison to the gravity of the moment. "I guess it all started with my dad," she finally confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "He left when I was really young. I don't remember much about him, just this shadowy figure who was supposed to be my hero." Jack kept his gaze steady on her, willing her to continue. "I mean, you hear people talking about how they found their dad and built a relationship, and it's all so perfect. But what happens when you just want to erase that part of your life?" Maria's voice trembled as she spoke. "He was supposed to protect us, but the day he walked out, everything changed. My mom had to take on 2 jobs just to make ends meet. I saw her struggle, sometimes working until late into the night, fighting to keep our heads above water. I tried to help out as much as I could." "What did you do?" Jack asked, feeling the ache in his chest intensify. He wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but he knew she needed to share this on her terms. "I helped with the little things. Cooking, cleaning, caring for my younger brother."
Instead of playing with friends, I was scrubbing dishes or picking up groceries. I became the adult in the house before I was even a teenager. Her voice faltered for a moment, and Jack felt the weight of her struggle settle between them. "Sometimes I felt like I was invisible, like no one could see me," she continued, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "And that made me really angry. Angry at him for leaving, angry at my mom for working so much, and mostly angry at myself for not being enough." Jack's heart ached as he listened. Every word from Maria felt like a piece of her had been laid bare, vulnerable and raw. "But you are enough. You've been carrying so much on your shoulders for so long, but you can't lose sight of your own worth," he urged gently. Maria let out a shaky laugh that didn't quite reach her eyes. "It's hard to see that when all you've known is struggle. Sometimes I dream about what it would be like if things were different, if I had a normal life, if my dad was there." "What do you want, Maria?" Jack asked, his voice soft, wanting to pull her closer without saying it outright. She paused, her brow furrowing. "I want to feel okay. I don't want to be defined by my past, by someone who didn't want me. I want to chase my dreams, but I keep getting stuck." Jack felt a flood of emotions surge within him. He admired her strength and her vulnerability all at once. "Then don't chase it alone. You've got me. I want to help you find what being okay means." As they locked eyes, the air crackled with a new intensity, a connection deeper than anything he had expected. Maria wiped her eyes, blowing her nose with a crumpled tissue she had pulled from her pocket. "Thanks, Jack. Just promise me you'll be here, even on the harder days." "I promise," he said, a sense of resolve washing over him. The clouds hung heavy in the sky above them, but in that moment the sun broke through, casting a warm glow on their faces. There was a shift, a sense of hope mingling with the unraveling heaviness of Maria's words. But before Jack could ask her more, her gaze drifted up towards the horizon, an unsettling look crossing her face. "What if one day he comes back?" Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean?" Maria bit her lip, her voice shaking again. "I don't know. It's just a part of me dreads that day." Just like that, the weight of unsaid fears hung heavy again in the air. Jack wondered what that could mean for Maria, and for them. What would happen if the past she wanted to escape suddenly came knocking at her door? Weeks went by after that fateful day in the park. Jack found himself lost in a whirlwind of emotions, reflecting on the weight of Maria's past and the promise he had made to be there for her. They had carved out moments filled with laughter, meals filled with warmth, but as he observed the raging storm in Maria's eyes during quiet moments, the concern would not leave him. The fear she harbored about her father haunted him, and he knew he had to address it head on. One particularly cloudy afternoon,
he proposed they visited the old community center where Maria had spent some of her childhood. It was a place filled with memories, where she had tried to learn, grow, and connect. With an adventurous spirit, they packed sandwiches and headed out together, hopeful the familiar surroundings would bring ease. As they entered the center, memories flooded back into Maria's mind. She smiled as she recalled games with friends, art sessions, and shared laughter. But Jack couldn't overlook the shadow running beneath that smile. He wanted to talk about her father, to provide space for the unanswered questions and fears that lingered like ghosts in the corners of her mind. "Hey, do you want to find a quiet spot to eat?" he suggested, steering them towards a small, shaded area beside the playground. "Sure," she agreed, her voice brightening as they settled on a rustic bench beneath a sprawling tree. They began to eat, the light momentary banter flowing between them. Jack watched Maria with admiration, her laughter bringing a gentle warmth to his heart. But as she paused, looking out over the playground where children dashed joyously, Jack knew this was the moment to dive deeper. "Maria," he said softly, "I've been thinking about what you said the other day, about your dad coming back." She looked at him, a flicker of worry crossing her face. "I'm not sure I'm ready to talk about that," she admitted, her voice quivering. He placed his hand gently on hers, grounding her in the moment. "I understand, but I think it's worth exploring. We can face it together. I want you to feel empowered, not haunted." Her eyes searched his, searching for sincerity, and after a long pause, she nodded slowly. "Okay, if you're really sure you want to hear. I'm scared that if he comes back, it'll just stir up everything that's already broken. I don't want to get my hopes up, only to be crushed again." Jack's heart ached at the raw honesty in her words. "You're allowed to feel that way. Reconnecting has to be on your terms. But if that moment comes, you're not alone. You have a voice, and you can choose how to respond." Tears glistened in her eyes, and for a moment silence enveloped them. The gravity of their conversation hung in the air, swirling around them like autumn leaves caught in the wind. "What if I don't know how to handle it? What if I want him to stay away?" she whispered, her voice shaky. "That's okay too," Jack reassured, feeling a surge of protectiveness. "You don't have to do anything you don't want to. Listen to your heart. Trust your instincts. You'll know." Maria sighed, the tension gradually melting from her shoulders. "You make it sound easy," she chuckled lightly, her smile tinged with sadness. "But life has never exactly played out easy for me. Life can be tough, but this is your narrative to write."
You can frame your world however you want. Your past doesn't decide your future. She stared at him as the light seemed to flicker back into her eyes. "Do you really think that?" "Absolutely," Jack smiled. "And it starts with believing in yourself. It starts with taking back your power." The sincerity in his words wrapped around her heart like a warm embrace. "Thank you, Jack. I guess fear has always held me back. I want to be strong." "You are strong," he affirmed, watching her eyes light up with newfound determination. "But strength doesn't always mean carrying everything on your own. We can do this together." To his surprise, a tear rolled down Maria's cheek. Jack hurriedly pulled a napkin from his pocket to dab it away. "I'm sorry, it's just, this is so different for me. Thank you for making me feel safe enough to talk about it." In that moment, a deeper connection wove between them, ready to comfort the dark corners of their lives, filled with understanding and care. As they finished their sandwiches, Jack felt the change in the air. It was a shift, an undeniable promise hovering between them. In the months that followed, Maria began to thrive. She joined clubs at school, discovered new passions, and even started painting again at the community center, moments that felt like reclaiming her ownership of life. It was beautiful to witness the transformation unfolding right before his eyes. Yet the looming presence of her father was never far from their conversations. Jack sensed Maria's apprehension, and deep down, he worried about the future. One tumultuous evening, the dark clouds returned, and the storm brewed once again. Jack was in the middle of a project when he received a text from Maria. She seemed apprehensive, anxious. "Can we talk?" it read, followed by a string of emojis that told a tale of worry. Jack's heart raced as he replied, "Of course, I'll be there in 15. When he arrived at her home, he found Maria perched on the porch steps, her face pale, her expression intense.
The moment he saw her, he knew something weighed heavy on her shoulders. "Jack," she cried, her voice trembling. "He's back." The words hit Jack like a thunderbolt, fear gripping his chest. "Your dad?" "Yes," she was shaking. "He came by today. He wants to talk to me." Jack swallowed hard, his instincts kicking in. "What do you want, Maria? How do you feel?" "I don't know," she exclaimed, the tears streaming down her cheeks. "I want answers, but part of me is terrified. I don't even know if I could trust him." "It's okay to feel that way," Jack said, pulling her into a comforting embrace. "No one can tell you how to feel, and if you need time, take it." Maria held on to him tightly, and Jack felt an overwhelming urge to shield her from emotional harm. "I don't want to be crushed again, Jack. I can't go through that kind of pain." "Whatever you decide, I'll be here, just like before."
"You can choose how you want to approach this," he promised, feeling the warmth of her trust settle between them. "But what if I get lost in it? What if he takes me away from everything?" she whispered, uncertainty lacing her voice. Just then, Jack cupped her face, holding her gaze steady. "Hear me, Maria. You fought too hard to give up now. No matter what happens, you are not defined by him or your past. You're strong and worthy." Her brows furrowed, and she breathed in deeply, absorbing his words, the storm inside beginning to quiet down. "I don't know what tomorrow brings, but your support means the world to me. Step by step, we'll figure this out together." They spent the rest of the evening talking, laying the foundation of what would be her next steps: conversations, options, boundaries. Jack felt the hope flickering back into Maria's heart, her resolve humming just beneath the surface. Finally, they parted ways, with Maria feeling a little stronger, a little more in control of her choices. But as Jack walked away, he couldn't help but feel the weight of uncertainty lurking just out of view. What would tomorrow hold for them both? That internal battle simmered in Jack's chest as he navigated the uncertainties of the future. But one thing was without doubt: he would stand with Maria, come what may. And as they faced the inevitable storms together, Jack remembered the enduring truth. Life might be a tumultuous journey, but with love and understanding, they could weather anything. And he was ready. As the sun set behind him, painting the skies with deep reds and purples, he felt a wave of clarity wash over him. The path ahead was uncharted, but with faith in each other, they were ready to meet whatever awaited. Though unknown challenges lived in the shadows, Jack knew they would rise, united and transformed. And perhaps, just perhaps, it would be enough. Now, dear friends, this is the moment for you to support our channel. Subscribe immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Every word motivates us. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Your love makes all the difference.